Good morning and a warm welcome to all present here for the online workshop organized by St. Aloysius Institute of Education. We appreciate you taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. We hope you will find this workshop to be fruitful and engaging. As William Wordsworth has defined poetry as the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings of emotions to be recollected in. Before we begin the session, I request Dr. Farita Vegas, our principal, to welcome the participants.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you for this online workshop on methodology of teaching poetry. I would like to welcome, first of all, my good friend, Mrs. Mary Saira Govius, lecturer, University of Bahrain, for consenting to be the resource person for this online workshop. She has already conducted 2 workshops for our students, which were very fruitful, and I felt that this could be a benefit to other English teachers, and hence we organized this workshop for the teachers of different schools. I would also like to welcome the heads of the different schools who have allowed their teachers to be a part of this workshop. I thank them for sending their teachers for this workshop, because I know that sometimes it's very difficult because you have online classes, and then to manage to send your teachers for this workshop becomes, adjusting the timetable becomes a big job. But yet many of you were interested in this workshop and have gladly sent your teachers for this workshop. I thank you for the same. I also welcome the participants, the teachers who are, everybody talks about the health workers as the frontline warriors of the COVID pandemic. I would say the teachers are also the frontline warriors, where they are combating with the situation to involve their students, to engage their minds and keep them focused on studying. So I thank the teachers for being here with us today, and I encourage them to participate fully and involve themselves in this workshop, so that we can learn together, we can learn about different ways where we can engage our students. I also thank some of our former students who are the heads of the institutions who have sent their teachers, and I also welcome them and welcome our former students to this workshop. I would like to mention the names of the schools which are participating in this workshop. They are St. Sebastian English Medium School, St. Lawrence High School, St. Aloysius Primary English Medium School, Holy Redeemer's English Medium School, Vidya Jyoti School, Wamanjur, St. Mary's School, Udpi, Kanachur Public School. And also I deem it a pleasure to welcome our distance education. We have students who are doing their distance B.Ed education. So the English teachers of this, we call them the ODL students, who are really enthusiastic teachers and who are always eager to learn. I welcome them to this online workshop. I also welcome all my faculty, and also thank in particular Mrs. Sarika, the convener of this program. And I also got a message saying that the science students of the ODL are also present here. We welcome them. So have a fruitful online workshop, and enjoy the session, because I know the resource person has put in a lot of effort and put in her time and energy and creative thinking, because she has a passion for teaching, she has a passion for English, and We are waiting for her to ignite us with this passion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I kindly request Mr. Jerome D'Souza to introduce the resource person to the participant.
Good morning to everyone. I am very happy to introduce Mrs. Mary Saira Govias, the resource person of this virtual workshop. Mrs. Mary Govias did her schooling at Lady Hill School, Urva, Mangalore, and graduation at Roshni Nilaya School of Social Work, Jeppu, Mangalore. She has completed a post-graduation degree in Management and Business Administration from the Mangalore University and a degree in teaching English to speakers of other languages from the United Kingdom. Mrs. Mary Govias worked as the faculty for English language and literature at Sacred Heart School, Bahrain from 1991 to 1997. Apart from teaching, she served as the academic coordinator at the Welcome Group School of Hotel Administration, Bahrain, organized a series of English language drama festival at the University of Bahrain, served as the General Secretary of Mangalore Musical and Cultural Association, co-authored the course book for English report writing, specifically for business studies, and the editor of the board magazine, Roshni Nilaya School of Social Work, Mangalore. Currently, the resource person works as a faculty for the Bahrain University. Madam, it is our great pleasure to have you as the resource person for the second time for the virtual workshop. Once again, a warm welcome to you, ma'am. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Jerome. We will turn the time over to Mrs. Govias. Over to you, ma'am.
A warm welcome to all the teachers from across South Canara or North Canara or India, and I'm so delighted that you're all here, and I hope you will benefit from this workshop. First of all, a big thank you to my very dear friend, Madam Farita, the principal, Sarika, the convener, Mr. Jerome for my introduction, and now we get started, all right? I have seen in the chat that there are teachers of English, teachers of Kannada, teachers of science, and the rest. For the teachers of English and Kannada, this methodology would be definitely apt. But for the teachers of science, I don't think it is directly applicable, but you can still use some of the strategies. Especially, you can use the first part wherein, as Farita said, I'm very, very passionate about teaching. So I believe that we teachers should be passionate, and that passion will relay or will be transferred to our students. So to begin with, let me start sharing my screen. Give me a minute. Tell me if you can see my screen, please, in the chat. Yeah, is it visible? Yes, brilliant. So now we get started, and on my screen you can see a saying by the poet W.B. Yeats. He says, education is not the filling of a bucket. We don't fill knowledge in the students, but the lighting of a fire. So as I said, our passion is the spark. We light the fire in the minds of students, be it for science, for English, for Kannada, because I believe that the students do not know where their calling is, what they're gonna be in the future, what kind of jobs they will have. It is our duty as teachers to light the spark so that they find where their fire belongs. So this workshop outcome, by the end of the workshop, you should be better able to understand how to improve your own teaching of poetry. I'm doing poetry today, but it could be your own teaching. You could use some of the strategies in anything else. And build passion in learners in the classroom. You know, they say that if you are motivated, half the battle is won. That means you can help the students far better if they are motivated. So I begin my workshop by speaking a bit about how to build passion in our students. So in this, what do? I have to ignite the spark in my students. First, I have to have the spark. If I don't have the match, I cannot light the fire in other people's minds. So what do I do to have the spark in myself? First is reflection. I don't just go to, you know, our job is so noble, as Madam Farita said. We are also frontline workers, not just today. We are frontline workers all our teaching career. Because we touch, we don't teach. This was Mr. Leo, what he said in a workshop. We don't teach, but we touch the minds of students. Unless we have something good to touch, we cannot touch good things. So we need reflection. I go to class, I teach. When I come back, I should reflect. Was it effective? Did I convey information? Did the information register? Did the students grasp what I was saying, or was I talking just to the walls, the tables, and the desks? I need reflection. Why do I need reflection? To improve on my shortcomings, my drawbacks, and build on my strengths or, you know, my good points. Secondly, I need a personal renewal. Now I reflect and I find that I have, for example, I'm an English teacher. And when I reflect over the years, I have found that my pronunciation, because I was educated in Bangalore, well, my pronunciation was not that great. So I've been working on it and I'm still working on it. I've not got there yet. Secondly, I realized that my pace of speaking was very fast. So I'm working on going at a very good pace. So these are things which I have picked out for myself. I cannot tell you, you have to learn for yourself. What are your drawbacks, shortcomings, and do personal renewal. How do we do that? We do it with professional development. And I'm so happy that all of you are here, which is part of professional development. May not be out of 100%, you might catch just 2%, but still every drop makes an ocean and it will help you in the long run. So next we go to, we have to remember that when there's passion, it can build success. Next we go to, how do we ignite passion in our learners? You know that students these days say, oh, so boring. Oh, we know that. Oh, teacher, do something else. I'm sure you've come across this because I come across this. How do we keep our learners engaged? How do we enhance their motivation? Okay, we build passion in them. What is passion and how do we do? We allow time for collaboration. Don't go by the old school method where the teacher talks. The students, either they speak, either they listen, or they just go to sleep maybe, we don't know. But get them involved, get them to collaborate. And I'm sure you've learned this in your B.Ed, communicative approach. So that is a very good strategy. Second is allow time for playing. I don't mean playing basketball and throw ball in the class. No. Have a kind of a fun activity, not every day. No, but it should be like maybe once a week as a treat, or maybe once in 5 lessons, whatever you think is good. That keeps the incentive for them. Oh, teacher, let's play the game. And the game has to be on the subject that you teach to see if they have grasped the information. That is also the communicative approach. The third, we have foster creativity. The students people are very, very creative. As we know in psychology, they say people have multiple intelligences. Maybe I see two students who are weak in my subject. Don't discourage them. Don't put them down. Find what is their intelligence and try to bring creativity in them, okay? This is beyond the teaching strategy. You know, we are not just teachers. We counsel, we guide, we are like mothers to them and fathers. So this is part of our job. Allow time for building connections with the subject. This is personalizing. This is again communicative approach. If you teach, for example, you're teaching, let's take, because there are science teachers, let's think that you're teaching about the blood in our body. Personalize it. Ask the students, do you know your blood group? Do you know the blood group of your family? What is the meaning of a blood group? What happens if something happens to me and I need blood? Get it personalized, get it into a practical knowledge. When they get practical knowledge, they see the connection between what they learn in theory and how it is in real life. This personalization works very, very well, and people understand the concepts faster. And finally, you have use your students' interest. Okay, maybe today you cater for one group of students. Oh, they like sport, so let me choose something connected with sport to as a add-on activity. Sometimes they like music, let me choose music. What do the young people like? What do people their age like? Try to find that in your activities. And lastly, and most importantly, allow time for your own learning. Unfortunately, we teachers can never stop learning. Maybe others can, but we cannot. So please allow time for your own learning, for your own development. Okay, this is the basic that I wanted to convey for being good teachers. And now I have a famous person here, Georgy Lozanov. He is from Bulgaria. He's known as the father of accelerated learning. What does he say? Oh, it's very nice to say, you know, be a good teacher and build passion in your students, but there are three main barriers in learning. What are they? And they are very important. For example, the critical logical barrier. What do the students think? Oh, school is not easy. How can teachers saying make it fun? How can it be fun? When it is learning, now this is what we have grown up with. When we say school, oh, it's like, you know, straight jacket, straight face school. It can't be fun. If you go home, if a student goes home and the mother says, what did you do? Oh, we had a game. And the mother will say, what? You know, this is old school. This is a barrier. You have to break this barrier. Second is the intuitive emotional barrier. Some point in time, a student might have been told either by the parent, the sibling, or another teacher that you are, you're like, oh, you're dumb, forget it, you don't understand. I might have said this to my own children sometimes out of anger, but it's not good. And it's our duty to correct it. Tell them they're not dumb. Tell them they can do whatever they like. It's possible as long as there's work. So please change this, break this barrier. And the final is critical moral barrier. If I call my child and say, come, let's do homework, I have a serious face. I don't say, come on, let's do homework. But if I say, let's play a game, I say, come on, let's play snakes and ladders. Go on, get the book. I have all smiles. So the way we convey studying, it says they get it that studying is hard work. So I had better keep my head down and not, you know, get distracted, not have fun. Fun and play don't go to fun and study don't go together. Okay. Now these are barriers which are not true. And research has proved that learning through fun is a very effective way of learning. Okay, so these are the three barriers. And now we go to the actual steps in the lesson. Perhaps you are following very good methodology, but this is how I would approach a lesson in poetry or prose or science or maybe even math. Why not? It's possible. But I'm using poetry today. First is prediction. Allow time for the students to predict. And I'm going to go through all these steps with you in the workshop so you will know how to do these with your students. Reading for gist is number 2, reading for the main idea, quick reading. Reading for details. We all know there's a text, and of course the students have to answer all the questions. So reading for details. Guided discovery of new language, new words, maybe for science, new equations. In math, in science could be new names of elements. It could be anything new. Then you have a freer task. Make them speak about it. Make them write something about it. Make them discuss it. Then they take ownership of the concept and they understand it better. Delayed feedback. I'll tell you what this is. You give feedback, but you delay it. And lastly, extra information. So this is my methodology for a lesson. It is very intensive. It could spread over one lesson, maybe 2, but it depends on how you prioritize the steps and you give importance. Like I'll be giving importance to a few today because we don't want to stretch the workshop. All right. So we go to, is everything okay? Can you hear me? Can you just say yes or no in the chat? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenny, Vidya, Veronica, Ashut,
Yes,
Poonam. Thank you very much. Okay. All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
great.
Yes,
Thank you. Okay, let's go on. I'll start with the first, which is a prediction. Okay, I understand that you have been made into groups. Am I right? Am I right? Can you just put in the chat? Yes? You've been made into group. Oh, okay, brilliant. Now, what I would like you to do is, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Look at my screen. It has a title and it has the name of the person. This is a poem written in which time. What can you predict based on the title, the poet, and the time? Okay, now I would like you to break out into your groups and I will count down 5 minutes. When you come back in 5 minutes, we will discuss the predictions you've made, and then this is stage 1, and then we proceed with the next. Okay, so guys, all the teachers, my fellow teachers, I'm going to start the clock now, and I'll give you 5 minutes to discuss, predict what the poem might be about, who is it about, what is it about, and come back in 5 minutes. Go. There's someone who's saying unable to see the poem. You don't have to see the poem. You have to predict, you have to guess what the poem is about by looking only at the title. Very good guesses, very good predictions. Okay, let's stop now. It's 5 minutes. All right. I would like one person to, let's see, can Sarita Ferrao please speak up and tell me what you have predicted about the poem? Sarita Ferrao, please unmute and tell me your predictions, please. Are you there, Sarita? I can't hear you.
Yes.
How
Hello.
about, okay, Sarita, tell me, what are your predictions about the poem? Go ahead.
First, about celebrating the successful return of their ship and mourning the loss of their great leader. It's all about
Hang on.
Abraham.
Success, loss of leader. Wow, very good. Anything else? I can see in the chat some people have said inner feelings. Great. I think Soumya Suvarna already knows the poem, so I'm not gonna say anything to that. Poem by, okay, addressing a captain. Very good. People are addressing. Anything else?
It's
What do you
about the
think?
voyage. Yeah, Saira ma'am, it's about the voyage.
Okay, it's about a voyage. Yes. Anything else? Anyone who's
It's
predicting and doesn't know the poem, I would appreciate a prediction. Those who know it maybe could just hold your horses. Yeah, it's about sea life. Let's give the people who don't know the poem to predict. Sea life, brilliant. Anything else? I remember someone writing bravery, and what was that in the chat? Hang on. There was confidence, bravery, leadership, shock, pride. Okay, bravery, pride, shock, leadership. Brilliant. Okay, these are very good guesses. Now, what I'm going to do is, can you tell me what do you have any personal experiences? Oh no, sorry. I want to go back. Sorry. Okay. Now, this is the second part. You can see 3 pictures. Can you see 3 pictures? Yeah, can everybody see 3 pictures? Yeah, no, you can't see the pictures?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, actually, I don't want you to take 7 minutes. Forget this 7 minutes. I'll just give you, say, 4 minutes. I would like you to look at these pictures. This is Walt Whitman, the poet. This is Abraham Lincoln, and this is the captain. I would like you to predict more, if possible. And if you can, answer these questions. Have you ever met a captain? Have you ever been on a boat or a ship? Have you sailed? Speak about your experience with your peers for 4 minutes and then come back, and then we will write down your personal experiences. Okay? So go back to your groups, everybody, and I'm going to start the time now. 4 minutes. Go. Okay, let's come back. Is everyone back? Yeah, can you say yes if you're back?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Even in the chat is fine if you say yes. All right. Okay. Now let's go to your personal experience. More predictions. I have just put on my screen. I put all your predictions, and they are beautiful predictions. Someone lost at sea, a sorrowful cry or cry of relief. Maybe the captain of a ship or a plane. Then person of experience, a good leader. You see what you're doing? You are brainstorming. You're storming your brain. So when you give this to your students, what do? They are storming their brain, and it's like, polishing whatever is there. So they are thinking, and their thinking becomes activated. So it's, our brain is like a sponge. When you press the sponge and you open it, it can absorb a lot. So what you're doing is you're kind of brainstorming to help students to absorb the concept. Now, can you please let me have Veena Mayekar. Can you tell me your personal experience with a captain or a boat or a ship? Yes, Veena, can you please tell me?
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. It's
Good morning.
hello.
Tell me.
It's very nice. It's a wonderful experience. My husband
Very
is
good.
into merchant navy, so I'm blessed to have a voyage every now and then.
Okay.
So I've been to Alaska. That was a very mesmerizing trip, wherein I could see beautiful sea along with snow-cladded mountains and all. And really, for us, captain is just like a god, because our lives are in his hand. And indeed, it was a blessing to meet the captain, Marco.
Very good. Thank you, Veena, for your experience. Who else has had an experience? Ashwini Rao, can you tell me about your experience? A bit of it. Only 2 people. Yes, Ashwini. You said you went on a boat, not on a ship. So what's your experience? Okay, looks like Ashwini has a problem. Would anyone like to comment? Anybody? You need personal experience, maybe on a boat or a ship, or you have met the captain, maybe the
Good morning,
captain.
ma'am.
Hi.
Good morning,
Hi.
ma'am.
Who's this?
Hi.
Tell me.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Archana Chaudhary.
Tell me, Charchana, what's your
Yeah, ma'am.
experience?
I went to Dwarka, and there, when I went to Bed Dwarka, we ride on a boat, and it was a bit scary for me because I have first time traveled on that boat, and it with the
Great.
waves, how it was moving, that was giving me a scary feeling. But after completing the trip, both the sides to and fro, I realized that it was really a very nice experience.
Okay, great. Now, thank you, Archana. And you said you were scared. And did
Yeah.
you feel like you were like bringing up your food? Your stomach was going all churny and all that. Did you feel that? Did
Yes,
you
yes,
feel
ma'am.
like yes? And
Yes,
that's called seasickness.
yes.
Okay, basically it's called seasickness. So what
Yeah.
we are doing here, thank you Archana for your feedback. Now, what did I do here? This is what I said initially. You can see in the beginning, step 1, prediction. Okay, and before that, I had said here, allow personal connections with the subject. Do you understand what I'm doing now? So basically, I have done this one and I am doing step 1 prediction. I have combined this strategy in this step. So the students have predicted, so they are kind of ready to read the poem and they have connected it with their personal lives. Now, we are going to step number 2, reading for gist. Everybody get ready. I'm gonna put the poem on the screen. I'll give you 90 seconds to read the poem, 90 seconds only. And after that, we come back. Don't go anywhere, just read the screen. So get ready. You're gonna read the poem from my screen, all right? So here goes. Let me make it full screen. And okay, start. 90 seconds. Okay, stop. Okay, you have read the poem. The poem is read quickly. Now, please put in the chat, were your predictions right or wrong? Please write in the chat. Were your predictions, you can see the predictions on my board. Leader, captain, voyage, sea life, bravery, shock. Sorry, shock and leadership are 2 different words. So shock, leadership, something exciting, something grieving, relief, a ship, good leader. Do you think your predictions were right? Now, yeah, I got only, yeah, to some extent, very good, partly right, partly wrong, brilliant. Can I have some more comments? Do you, now, very good. Now, some people say my predictions were right because they have personal experience from before maybe of a ship or whatever. Some people say, no, but it's okay. It has set the mood for the poem. And those who made the right predictions, you already know the poem. I haven't taught it. You just read it in 90 seconds and you can almost get the main idea of the poem. And that's a sense of achievement. Oh, I have understood it. The students are going to love it. So, okay, yeah, Manjula says she was right about the poem. Very good, Somanath. So now what we do, we finished predictions and personal experience, and you found out that your predictions were right. Now this is the poem, yeah. Did you like the poem? I love this poem. I really, really love it. So what we'll do is next is step number 3. We finished step number 2, prediction and reading for gist. Now we go to step number 3, reading for details. If you are a teacher of poetry, you're gonna give these ideas. What's the poem? Understand the the poet's purpose. What's the background? What are the imagery used? Similes, metaphors. What are the difficult words? So this is reading now back again for details. Okay, I'm not gonna ask you to do it. Maybe a little. Now, this is called, actually in English, it's called scanning. It's for a reading, but I don't know about for you, all right? So this is reading for details. After that, let's try some of it with your group. So I would like you to do just the first. Now, what is reading for details? What's the main story of the poem? How many stanzas does it have? Give each stanza a title. Let's do it as a group, okay? Let me see the first one. Can you tell me the main idea of the poem? Can you write it in the chat? What is the main theme of the poem? Please write in the chat. Yes, go on. If somebody asked you, oh, did she do a poem? What's it about? What would you say? What would you say the poem is about? Grief, very good. Lamenting, lamenting what? What is it about? Life, okay. Can you put grief, lamenting, captain all together? So what is the main storyline in the, yes, the death of a captain. They are mourning the death of a captain. Brilliant. That's all. Loss of a leader. Yes. In particular specific, mourning the death of a captain in the poem. But then when you go deeper, you know Abraham Lincoln is there. So it's the death of a leader. Very good. Thank you, Anit. And actually, Anit, it's not funeral services, but it's the death of a leader. Okay. Now, how many stanzas does this poem have? How many verses does it have? Come on, put in the chat. How many verses does this poem have? Yeah, English teachers. Thank you. Mercy and Ashwini, they say 3. Okay, next target. You don't have to be an English teacher. Next. Can you give a title for each stanza? Those who have been with me in the last workshop, please hold your horses, let the others try, okay? Those who are new today, please give me a title for paragraph number 1. Come on. What title would you give? What feeling? What emotion is there in this? Can you give me a title? Come on. Would anyone like to read the first poem, first stanza? Can someone tell me in the chat who would like to read the first stanza? Come on, who would like to read the first stanza? Somebody tell me in the chat that you would like to read. Some English teacher, please.
Yes, ma'am, I will read.
Who's this?
Soumya, ma'am.
Soumya, please read the first stanza for us, Soumya. Go ahead. Make it your best. Good morning. Go ahead.
Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathers every rack. The prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But, oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead.
Marvelous, beautiful. What would you call this? Yeah, very, very, very well recited. What would you call this stanza? What name would you give it?
Actually, the poet Whitman is commemorating the assassination of the President Abraham Lincoln. So he's in a state of mourning. Actually, he wants, as they are on the ship, actually, when the flags are rising on the ship, he wants Abraham Lincoln to be there. But actually, he's being dead.
Soumya, just go by the poem. Just
So
go by
he's
the poem.
Yes,
In the poem, what is the feeling? What is the feeling? He wants to celebrate, but he sees the captain dead. So can we call it a feeling of shock?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so now this is reading for detail. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the details.
Yes, ma'am.
You can make the students recite and ask questions and ask them to think of words, because in English you need feelings. Give them a list of words on the board and say, is it this? Is it that? So they learn new words. Is it shock? Is it dismay? Is it mourning? Is it sadness? Is it sorrow? Give them words. So you are exposing them to more vocabulary. All right? Okay. So this is reading for details. I would like one more person to read paragraph verse 2. Who would like to read verse 2, please? I want a volunteer for verse 2. Any other English teacher?
Ma'am, shall I read, ma'am?
Yes, please. And your name, please.
Hello.
Your name?
Yes, my name is Somnath, ma'am.
So go ahead. Brilliant. Somnath. Please read verse 2.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. O captain, my captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flying, for you the bugle trills, for you buckwheats and ribbon reds, for you the shore a crowding, for you they call the swaying moss, the eagle faces turning. Here, captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head, it's some dream that on the deck you have fallen cold and dead.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much. That was excellent. I would like another English teacher to read the third verse, please, and then we move on to the next step. One more volunteer. Come on, English teachers. Come on, make me proud.
Can I read?
Yes, yes. And your name, please?
My name is Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, go ahead, Jocelyn. Please read verse 3.
My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound. Its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object one. Exult, O shows, and ring, O bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck. My captain lies, fallen, cold and dead.
3 cheers to all the 3 English teachers who read. Marvelous reading. Okay. Now, you have read beautifully, you have recited beautifully. This is how I would do it. Would you like to listen? Listen. But I'm looking on the left because my screen is there. Forgive me. Okay. Oh, Captain. My Captain. Our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack. The prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But, oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. Oh, Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you the bouquets and ribbon wreaths, for you the shows are crowding, for you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream that on the deck you have fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object 1. Exult, O shows, and ring, O bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck, my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. Okay? So, this is how I would read it, but you guys have read it beautifully. If you put more feeling, you're conveying the feeling of the poet through the poem. Okay, so I just wanted to say that, show you how I would read it. I guess my screen has stopped sharing. Can you see my screen? Somebody had clicked.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You can see it. Okay, I can't see it. That is why. Are you sure you can see? Sakshi says no. Can everyone see my screen? Yes, somebody says no. Please check your thing, okay? Right, so this is now how you bring passion in your students. You convey your passion for that subject through your feelings and make the students ignite their passion, make them interested, okay? Let's go to the next step. Now, we finished 3 steps and we're gonna go to step number 4. Does anyone know what is guided discovery? Can you put in the chat? What is guided discovery? Any ideas? Okay, very, very simple. Oh, you can see me, not the screen? That's what I asked. Hang on. Because somebody started sharing in between. Hang on, just a minute. Something went wrong. Somebody was sharing in between. Okay, tell me if you can see it now. Thank you for the nice compliments. Yeah, can you see it now? Problem solving through guidance. Very good guess, Somnath. Anyone else knows what guided discovery? Okay, let's break the words into.
Yeah, finding something. Yeah, this is Mercy, ma'am. Finding something new.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mercy. Discovery is finding something new. Guided means you are guiding their discovery through the concept you're teaching. As simple as that. So who's the guide? You. You're not holding their hands and taking them. You're only leading and they're following. You're only a facilitator. You are supporting, you are guiding, but you're not teaching. There's a difference, okay? So when you have guided discovery, you tell students, find words that are new and decipher their meaning in context. What does it mean? So maybe I am Tom. I find 10 new words. And I ask my friend Kate, Kate, what do you think is bugle? And Kate knows bugle. So she helps me. And I know what is wreath. So I help Kate. You see, here comes the collaboration. They talk to each other. They don't listen to just my voice going on. And then they learn new words. Now, for English, it is grammatical structures. For science, maybe it is something else. For math, maybe new equation. Find new phrases and idioms in English. Find collocations in English. So you tell them, okay, here goes, everyone, you have 5 minutes. Make a list of new things that you have seen in today's concept. So this is guided discovery for anything new related to your subject. Okay, then we go to 5. 5 is, sorry. Now, since we say new words, if, for example, one student says, oh, teacher, I don't know what is weathered. What's the meaning of weathered? Then I go to my screen and I show them, okay? These are rocks. And I say, these rocks have been weathered by the sea and the storm. And I don't tell them the meaning, but I ask them concept checking questions. They are called CCQs. So please put in the chat. Does weathered mean weak? Yes or no? Please type in the chat. These rocks are weathered by the sea. Does it mean weak? Some are saying yes, some are saying no. Worn off, very good. Are they still standing or have they fallen down? They're still standing. So does it mean weak? Weak. Does it mean weak or strong? Yes, it is not weak. Very good. Does it mean strong? Yes. Does it mean brave? If it's for a person, does it mean brave? You still stand in spite of everything. Yes. So now you know the meaning of weathered. It is something that is strong and brave and can stand in spite of difficulties. So, for example, in English, we say weathered stone, weathered person, a weathered leader, a weathered teacher. Okay, how do you say it? You say with the and it, weathered. So, if you're an English teacher, you show them an image. You show them the meaning and you show them the pronunciation. Let me just run through the words because I saw some of you pronouncing wrongly, or I'll come back to that. Okay, so one more, for example, sought. They'll say, teacher, what is sought? Seek. Look at this. Does it mean it is lost? Yes or no? If I seek something, I seek work, I seek help, I seek the help of my friend. Does it mean it is lost? No. Divya Kumari says no. Does it mean to look for? Yes. Does it mean to search for? Yes. So seek is present and sought is past tense. So you give them an image and you give them the pronunciation and the meaning. All right, this is for English. For chemistry, you can do something else. For biology, remember we have so many resources at our hands, especially now. We don't have to go to the library. We just go online and click. We have so many resources. Make use of them. Expose your students to a lot of information. Give them whatever they want and let them take what they want, okay? So next we go to the next step. Hang on, let me just go to the next step. We have the next step is step number, I think it is a freer task. Now, step number 5 is a freer task. There is no limitation. You make the students do either a writing, a reading, or a role play. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I won't give it to you. But for example, what role play can I give for this poem? I would say, okay, this group, choose 2 people. One is a TV interviewer and the other is the poet. Ask him questions about the poem, why he wrote it, who did he mention, what was the situation, what was the context, what is the story he's trying to give. This is role play. They practice the words that they have read. They practice the words that they are new to them. Tell them, use these words. So they are practicing and taking ownership and using, which makes the concept much stronger. Second, you can say, okay, you are 2 crew members of the ship. Discuss the goodness and the bravery of the captain. So one will say, oh, our captain was so brave, he was never scared. And the other says, do you remember he saved us in that storm? So this is role play. You can give role play for any situation, even for a math situation. Tell them, okay, you are going shopping. How would you adapt this kind of a strategy there? Something, be creative. So that is stage number 5. Stage number 6 is delayed feedback. Now, what is delayed feedback? If the student is speaking in class, don't say, oh, Tom, please be quiet. That's not right. Never do that. If you stop a student in the process of their speech, you discourage them. You never know how it will affect their mental being. Some people take it very seriously and they stop speaking forever. No, our job is to allow and encourage interaction. So delayed feedback, you wait till the end of the lesson You make note of all the mistakes the people have made, and then you come here. For example, today, I'll give you two examples. This word, yeah, I think there was a problem with this. This is pronounced as bugle. So how do I tell my students what's the bugle? Perhaps they don't know it. So I go to the picture and I say, this is a bugle. This is how I pronounce it. It's from the dictionary. Bugle. Is it a toy? They'll say no. Is it a musical instrument? They'll say yes. Do you need a stick to play with it? No. Can you blow into it? Yes. So a bugle is a musical instrument which can be blown into. You don't punch it like keys, like a piano. You don't use a stick like drums. This is a bugle. So this is delayed feedback. I catch on things which people make mistakes with, and then I explain. For example, the word maybe, for example, Tom doesn't say the word bouquet. He doesn't know how to say this word. For example, bouquet. It is not bouquet. It's not bouquet. It's not bouquet. It's not bouquet. It's bouquet. How do I show it? I have to anticipate the problems that students might have in my concept. If I'm teaching a new concept, I know that most of them don't know these things. So I prepare beforehand, and here I have already prepared a bouquet. How do I say it? Bouquet. I don't say bouquet, I don't say bucket, I say bouquet. Is it a bunch of bananas? No. Is it a bunch of flowers? Yes. Is it beautiful? Yes. So what do we say? We say a bouquet of flowers. We say a lovely bouquet. So what do? I monitor. I keep my eyes and ears open during the lesson. I don't just go to sleep when the students are talking. I take a paper, I go around, I make notes of what problems the students are facing. I let them solve it with their peers, with their group. And after that, if they cannot, I address these issues and I put them at the end for the whole group. Yes, Somnath, that's okay. But what we should do is don't point out, you did this, you did that. No, don't, just give it to the whole group. Okay, yeah, and I will give you a dictionary which you can give to your students. That is another thing. So this is about what I'm saying is delayed feedback. Okay, everybody okay? Shall I go to the last part? Everyone okay? You understand? Any questions? Okay, great. Now we go to step number 7, which is extra information. Remember, in our class, we have students at various levels. We have the very good ones, we have the mediocre ones, and we have the lower ones. We have to cater for everyone. So what about the good ones? They want to go beyond. So I usually give extra information. Go back and read. For example, you said Abraham Lincoln Civil War during the lesson. I tell them, you want to learn more? This is the link. Copy it, go and read. You want to learn about Abraham Lincoln, a very good and very iconic leader of America? Read about him. Do you want to know about the poet, Walt Whitman? What kind of a man was he? Was he very rich? Was he poor? Was he successful? Was he kind? Was he... Okay, read about him. Do you need to know more about pronunciation of words? Then you use this. Now, this is for you English teachers as well. This dictionary is marvelous, this one. It has pronunciations and it has... what happened to my screen? Okay. This one has everything. If you would like to, I'll show you a page of it now. And this would be the last part of my stages, the 7 stages. So going back, we have covered all the 7 stages, which I said are in a lesson. Okay. Now, maybe I could share with you I'll stop sharing this and I will share with you the dictionary. Would you like to show you the dictionary? Perhaps you can look at it yourself, okay? Before I end, I would like to say just a few more words. We teachers, last time I asked this question to the participants, do you go for buffet lunches or dinners at a restaurant? Please put in the chat, yes or no. Teachers, we are not teachers. I believe I'm not a teacher, I'm an awakener. What I mean to say is, I was asking you, do you all go to a buffet lunch or dinner? Okay, somebody says due to COVID, you're not going, but you've gone, right? Okay, when you go to a buffet, how many dishes do you see there? Can you put a number in the chat? How many dishes do you see? Do you see 5, 10, 15, 20? Just put a number. 5.
It depends on the restaurant also, and it will be more than, it will be more than 20.
20, okay, wow, 20, all right. What do? Do you eat everything? Please put in the chat. Do you try everything? No, okay. What do you eat? Which ones do you try? Which ones? Archana says, my favorite. Shatu says non-veg, just non-veg. She chooses what she likes. Veronica, yes. Sarita says whatever I like most, whatever. I'm going to catch on Sarita's answer, whatever I like most. Now, if Sarika did not go to the buffet before, would she know what she likes? No. Because she has gone to the buffet and she has seen that food, she knows what she likes. So when she goes the second time, she knows what she has to pick. Now, why am I giving this analogy? I'm giving this analogy to tell you that teachers, we have to provide the buffet for our students. We have to throw at them lots of information, not too much. According to the subject, just enough. Of course, they don't give us 100 dishes at the buffet. Again, they say depending on the restaurant. So depending on the concept, give them exposure to different concepts. And maybe they will find their what I like in one of them. Someone might find a like in photography. Someone might find a like in making images on the computer when they see my images or your images. Someone else might like just being a computer specialist. So it is our duty to expose our students to a lot of things, and then when we ignite the spark in them, they know where the fire will burn and where it will take them in the future. So let us be not just teachers. Let us not just teach. Let us touch hearts and be awakeners. Let us teach with passion and ignite passion in our students. And with this, I would like to conclude by saying a very good luck to all of you, my fellow teachers, and thank you for listening to this. And I hope you have understood, and I hope you benefit, and I hope you get a chance to use some of the things you have learned. And I'm waiting here for any questions you have. Please, please put them in the chat, or please unmute and ask. I'm willing to answer any question. Go ahead.
Ma'am, which dictionary is better to use, ma'am? Now, in case if we want to search any meanings or something.
I would suggest the Cambridge Dictionary, which I put online. Perhaps I could show you that dictionary. While the others ask questions, let me just find the dictionary and show you that I go by this. This is very good, and I really like it. So hang on, let me just share it with you. If you have any other questions, please ask in the meantime. Share a window, share. Okay, can you see my screen? Just tell me if you can. Can you see my screen? Yes. Now, this dictionary is brilliant because if I want English Arabic, I have. If I want grammar, I have. If I have English Turkish, I have. If I click here, there are many more dictionaries. Can you see? There is English, French, English, German, Portuguese, Arabic, Catalan, Chinese. I don't think there is Hindi, but there are most dictionaries. Okay, maybe you don't need it. Plus, there is a learner's dictionary, which is very good for learners. Then there is essential British English and American English. So if I go here and I just say English and I put a word, for example, a bouquet. Now, when I put bouquet, I get a picture, an image, okay? I get the meaning. So from this, I can make the concept questions. So the first is a group of flowers. So I said, is it a group of flowers? Then fastened together. Are they tied together, fastened together? Attractively arranged. Are they thrown around? Are they attractively arranged? Can be given as a present. Can they be put in a vase? Can they be given as a present? Is it for formal occasions? Is it for informal occasions? You see, this part will help you make concept checking questions. Do you understand? Then you can go down and you have the characteristic other meanings. Now, these meanings are most often not required, but sometimes you need to look at them to compare and see which meaning goes in your concept of the subject for that day. All right. So this is very plus, something very useful. Can you see the sound button here? Can you see the sound button? Yes or no? Do you want me to zoom it? Can you see? Yes, okay.
Yes,
If I
ma'am.
click on this is UK pronunciation, if I'm not sure, and this is US pronunciation, plus this is the pronunciation which I put on the screen for my students. So you have so many things. You have the word, you have the part of speech, you have the pronunciation, you have the image, you have the countable, noun countable, you have the meaning, you have the collocation, how do I use it, you have a sentence, and you have other meanings, as many as you can. I vouch by this and I use this dictionary, and I can put it again in the chat if you want. I'll just put it in the chat. Just give me a minute. Okay, I'm putting it in the chat. Okay, that's in the chat for you, and perhaps you can try it. That's the dictionary in the chat. You want a link to my YouTube video. I suppose Sarika from the St. Aloysius College will be putting it on their St. Aloysius College YouTube. And there is another prose video which I've taught. So you can always go back and watch it. Please request Sarika to send you the link and I'll remind her about it. And if you have any more questions, if you don't understand the logic behind why I use these steps, please feel free to ask me. Go ahead.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, must be Somnath.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Somnath, go ahead.
Madam, good afternoon. First of all, ma'am, first of all, I'm very happy that because you have focused on a particular and very, I think in my opinion, as an English teacher, poetry teaching and constructing poem is difficult for me, madam. And today you have such a wonderful workshop on this topic. And I have learned a lot of new things from you, ma'am. So I'm very thankful for organizing such a meaningful workshop so that we have understand how do we teach poetry, how do we organize
I'm very thankful to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Somnath. I'm so honored by your compliments. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to share. When I feel that it works for me, I'm always very keen on sharing. And I'm so glad I could share with all of you lovely people in India. I'm far away. And usually when I come to India, I love to meet teachers and have actual workshops in person. Because I'm not in India, I had to do a webinar, but I'm so happy. And I really hope you enjoy teaching poetry or science or biology or math or history. Just put some creativity and make it different. It'll work. And don't be worried. It's not rocket science, Somnath. It's just teaching English. But I'm remember that you have to be a good model, a good example. So please work on your English first. If you would like, I'm sharing another website with you, which has very good courses on English and are free of cost. So all you English teachers, I encourage you to do one of the courses, any of the courses you choose. If you want a certificate, you can pay a little money, but otherwise the courses are free. So give me 1 minute, let me look for the link and I'll give it to you, and I would encourage all of you to do it. It is just like maybe 6 hours, 3 hours a week for 6 weeks sometimes, and you can do all the 3 in one day. So just give me 1 minute. I've put it in the chat. Can you look at it? It's called www.futurelearn.com. I have done so many courses in English on this platform, and I've done it for free. Whenever I feel a certificate will enhance my workplace is good for me, then I pay a little money and I get them to send me the certificate. If not, it's completely free, and you feel so good when you get so much information about the subject you're teaching. Okay, right. So I've given you 2 things which I feel are very, very useful and have helped me a lot, especially the Future Learn courses. And at the moment, I'm doing a course on pronunciation. And I have so much to learn in my pronunciation. So I'm working on it now, and it's been very, very interesting and useful. And I hope you find courses that are interesting. Okay, right. Any more questions? I can see some faces, and I can see people.
Ma'am, you mentioned about delayed feedback. So we are not supposed to correct them while means they have completed the reading part or something like that. We should always go at the last part only for the delayed feedback. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Archana, you can, delayed feedback is at the end of, can't hear me? Can you hear me, Archana?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, ma'am.
Archana, delayed feedback is at the end of the lesson. Yeah. Why I'm saying is, if you correct them, losing the flow of the lesson. Okay. Number two, you don't know how long each correction will take. Number 3, the person you are correcting might feel like he's been put on the spot. Everyone is watching him and teacher, him or her, and the teacher is correcting me. He might feel bad about it. So in those 3 areas, delayed feedback is more wholesome for the whole class. You're not pinpointing anyone and you're covering everything. Do you understand? So that's my logic of it. Okay, Archana?
Yes,
if you don't, if you don't believe in that logic, you can change. But this is my logic, and I like doing that.
Yes, ma'am. And when should we mention or introduce the poetic devices while teaching or having these 7 steps? After that, we are going to introduce that.
That is a good thing. You will have taught the devices. Am I right? Before.
Yes.
So you ask them to do guided discovery. Now give them 2 minutes. Find similes in the poem. Find 2 minutes. Find the rhyme scheme of the poem. 2 minutes. Find alliterations in the poem. The flag is flung, the song is sung, whatever. Do you understand?
Okay. So that was the 4th step.
Yeah, this is guided discovery. You're not hampering, go, this is it, this is it, this is it. No, they find out for themselves and they learn better. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. And regarding the role play, ma'am, you have given. So can, if regarding this poem, can we go for this, that the person means one person can go for that part where they are imagining themselves as a person is lying dead and the other person is crying you for that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just go for creativity. Think out of the box. Give whatever you want, but the limit, the box is you have to speak about the poem. Use the words you learned in the poem, use the concepts you learned in the poem, build a role play, make it fun, present to the class. This could be a project. You could give them marks on it. They could write the conversation, they could use the words, then they write the spellings and everything. And then, by the way, I forgot to mention this. It has been proved in research that if you see a certain thing 6 times to 13 times, it becomes part of you. So now you saw the poem, you give the students the poem for just reading, then you give them for details, then they look at the poem for, again, other questions, alliteration, simile, then they look at the poem to write the role play, and then they read it maybe 4 or 5 times is already done. By the time they leave the class, they will have seen the word bouquet, weathered, and bugle so many times that it becomes part of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yes,
exposure to a word, research has proved works very effectively. Okay, right. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for giving me this idea, because I have never really used this in the poem part. But in the story part, I do that. I always start in the same manner, because there is a chapter about different kind of school. So in that chapter, the child is having a perception of blind person and everything. So I imitate all those things in the class. They do the role play and they perform quite well. And they give me the answers and the themes and messages of that.
Very proud of you, Archana. Great going. Great going. Keep going. Excellent.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you for the lovely comments, and I'm really happy you liked it. It was worth the effort then. Thank you.
Ma'am, looking forward for more webinars from you, actually. We are blessed to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored. My passion actually is literature, teaching literature. Although I don't teach it now, I teach just general English now. But my passion is also, I'm very, very passionate about pronunciation. Very, very. I'm seriously working on improving my pronunciation. I have so many things yet to go. And I would be more than happy to, if Madam Farita has time, I'd be more than happy to have sessions on pronunciation, at regular intervals. Let's see. I'll talk to my dear friend and we'll get back. Archana, where are you from? Where are you from, Archana?
Ma'am, I am living in Rajasthan, but basically I am from Bihar.
Wow. Wow. I'm impressed. Wow. I have people from North India too. I'm impressed. Okay. That's beautiful. Very nice. I'm so happy to see so many people from all over. How lovely this. Thank you. Thanks to the internet.
One more topic I want, that if you can arrange the webinars like for tense, active, passive, and reported speech, which really the students are always scared with.
Grammar is my passion.
So if that can be done in this creative manner, which I will be really obliged if you are taking.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna put my email ID in the chat box. Any of you from anywhere would like to say anything to me, ask me, tell me, please write to me, okay? This is my email ID. You see it? If you would like a webinar for your schools, if you would like a webinar for you and your fellow teachers, if you would like a webinar on grammar or pronunciation, I do it for fun. And I would love to do it, but I would like to stick with, but my time might be a bit of an issue because I am 2.5 hours behind you. For me, it is just now 10 o'clock, 10, 11. So the time might be an issue and the day might be an issue, but we can maybe accommodate whenever I have free time, like Fridays and Saturdays are my good days because it's weekend for me. Okay, right. Any other questions? Thank you, Archana. Lovely talking to you. Okay. Madam Farita is here. Sarika, are you here? Sarika, can we end?
Yes, yes.
I don't think anyone has any more questions, Sarika. So perhaps we can stop. I wish you all of you good luck and goodbye.